to let everyone know, we will be recording this. So I think everyone probably received a pop-up notification about that. Okay, looks like we have Gordon from Augusta, and then Scott from Kelowna, BC. All right. Okay, and we have Claudia helping us today manage the chat. So as we go through this webinar today, if you have questions, which I know people will, would you please go ahead and put your questions into the chat, and then we will have Claudia collecting those for the end. And then if anyone has any issues, go ahead and let me know if you can't see my screen within the chat, and we'll make some adjustments. But we're going to go ahead and dive into this because we have some information to go ahead and start. So welcome. Thank you, everyone that's joining us. Today, we are hosting a webinar on navigating data visualization, a roadmap to success. And we are hosting it through AllCode. And we are happy to be able to bring this webinar to you to answer any questions around this. So let's go ahead and dive in here. The ability to harness the power of data visualization and analysis is not just a skill, it's a necessity. So this is a really good quote to start this webinar off with, because we are evolving and transitioning right now into a space where this is no longer a nice to have. This is a must have for our businesses. And we'll go further into it, but it's very critical at this point to be incorporating this into your business if you don't already have it. I know a lot of our customers do, and there's ways to kind of navigate and update that. But this is a really handy quote. This sets the tone for our webinar today. What is data visualization? Data visualization is the conversion of raw data into visual summary charts and graphs. When data is just a number or dates or names, grades, it all looks a little meaningless and is hard to sift through. Especially when you have so much data in rows and columns, and then you want to get it to a point where it's organized, grouped, categorized, and easily consumed. Why do SMBs need data visualization? So here's the problem. We are data rich and systems poor. We're drowning in all of this data. We've been collecting data. I think data visualization, we're at that apex moment where we're transitioning to it being critical, but collecting data has been going on for years and years. So we've all been collecting it. We all store it. We all have it, and we know the importance of that. But now we're at a point where we're trying to transition to the solution, which is how data visualization transforms that raw data into these visual narratives that give you a panoramic view of insights essential for steering your business. So we're going to talk about the power of data visualization. So the data analysis coupled with the visualization, it actually empowers us to spot trends and identify bottlenecks and also optimize processes. This is a really critical piece because it gives us that feedback that we're looking for in a nice, like snackable, viewable way. It also helps us with our informed decisions. I personally love data-driven decision-making. If anyone else does, go ahead and tell me in the chat. I think a lot of people do. But this allows us as companies, as businesses, as employees of businesses to make so that we can better understand our customers' needs and preferences, and also anticipate changes in the market, and then further develop strategies that will lead to our long-term success here. So let's talk about the most popular forms of data visualization. I know we've all seen these charts, we've seen these graphs, what they look like, but just a little bit of data here for you all is that bar graphs, bar charts, and column charts are going to be our most powerful ones. Let me just go back here. We also have like heat maps, dot distribution. So some of the other techniques that are kind of fun and help us see are going to be, besides charts, are going to be plots. So you have your scatter or your bubbles. You have your maps, like your heat maps. I love a heat map. I know a lot of people love heat maps, and it's very easy to be able to see what's going on in those. And then also dot distributions and diagrams. I think we had a little bit of a slide snafu here. But I do want to tell you a really big statistic as we're going through and talking about data visualization here, is that 90% of the information transmitted to our brains are visual. So visuals are processed 60,000 times faster in the brain than in text. I want to say that again for everyone. Visuals are processed 60,000 times faster in the brain than text. So when we're talking about making our businesses more efficient, when we're talking about overhead, this is a huge cost saving implementation that can directly affect your bottom line, especially when you're disseminating information to your teams to make informed decisions, or when you're disseminating information to customers, or when you're just trying to make an informed decision off of that data that we've been compiling and collecting. The best way to do it is through visuals. So we can easily look at those versus scrolling through like the charts, the rows, the columns. We've all been there, we've all looked at it, we've all extracted it. But this is an actual bottom line kind of ROI for your company when we're talking about visuals because of how our brains are synthesizing these. So let's talk about the exact benefits of data visualization. So we have 4 big ones here. We have clarity through visualization. Data visualizations make data really clear. We like to see it. We like to be able to absorb it. It's clear, it's concise, easy to understand. Users can easily unlock key values from massive, massive data sets and interpret them and draw conclusions. The next one is insights, revealing those really valuable insights. So the visualizations allow businesses and business users to identify relationships, patterns, and trends between the data, which gives it greater meaning. You can also easily uncover fresh insights and focus areas that require more attention that you want to, set aside a little bit more time within your business to work on, or you want to push a little bit more staff towards this. But those insights can be easily derived from your visuals of your data. The third one is narratives. And not many people consider this as big of an important piece of this, but it actually really, really is, because natively and intuitively, we're human beings we're observing and scanning this data, and those really compelling narratives actually mean something to us and help us with memorization and memory recall and as to what we're looking at. So the creative data visualization is about creating these compelling narratives through the use of your graphics, your diagrams, and visual analytics. Visualizing data helps our users tell better stories and also convey messages in an engaging manner. So when you're trying to sell the value of a product within your company that you sell to your customers, it really helps to have a very compelling narrative around the data set of why it improves whatever it is that they're wanting to improve upon, and explains why they should buy and also what the value return is within that narrative for them. And then the last critical benefit here for data visualization is going to be accelerating our decision making. So remember, it's our informed decision making process that is actually very critical for us. The data visualization, though, they can significantly increase the pace of decision making processes. Again, this goes back to the absorption, which is 60,000 times faster. And it also makes it simpler for us to use and to understand these visuals. And also something that's very critical that people don't think about is it's very easy to share these visuals versus exporting raw data and sharing it. It's just a lot easier to do that. So I have a really big question for everyone. I want to break up the webinar really quickly. Who here loves attending really, really long meetings? Put it in the chat if you do or you don't. So the Wharton School of Business says that data visualization can cut down on meeting times by up to 24%. That's huge. 24% is a really, really large percentage. When you're talking about staff time, when you're talking about your time, we all don't like sitting through those meetings. So that's a really critical piece of analytics right there for promoting data visualization. Let's go ahead and go to, so let's talk about best practices of data visualization. So I'm sure you all are like, yes, great, you sold me on data visualization. How do I begin if I'm not already there? Or how can I actually get down the path of creating this with my data? So you can think of this slide as your roadmap, essentially. There's going to be 6 steps in your roadmap for you to go through before you are actually going into kind of the building phase. The first one is to specify your audience, right? And their unique needs. So is this for your internal people? Is this for external or customers? Those different audiences are going to have different needs. And so it's really helpful just to start right there from the get-go. Just like you do with marketing, you want to define who your audience is. Just like you do with sales, you want to define who your audience is. Well, it's the same thing with data visualization. You want to define who that audience is, and you want to craft that communication and provide real value and meet the needs of that target audience. The second step is going to be defining a clear purpose. So you want to specify what questions you want your data visualizations to answer or what problems you want them to solve. So this needs to be clearly defined because this will help you pull the specific data. We have a lot of data. Not all of the data is significant. Sometimes we tend to just want to just full throttle dump a bunch of data on people and have them synthesize on their own. But when we're talking about creating these data visualization charts, we really want to be really clear on what answer and what questions we are answering with that visual. So when you're doing that, it's just something to kind of think about. And it can also be you can also answer a couple questions at once. It doesn't have to be a singular one, depending on how you're going to lay out your charts. The third step here in your roadmap is going to be keeping your data clean. This is also easier said than done. I know we all have cleaned up data out of spreadsheets and databases, and it's hard. Bad data happens. It's part of it. But it is a good practice when you're going through your roadmap of building out your data visualizations to assess what data needs to be cleaned up. So a couple helpful hints are going to be just making sure to fix or remove incomplete data. Or duplicate data or incorrect data. You want to check for corrupted data and also incorrectly formatted data within your data set. So I would say what more often it is the incorrectly formatted data that kind of gums up the wheels the most. And then the fourth step is going to be using the right visuals. So we talked about some of the most popular ones, which are going to be your graphs, like your bar graphs. But with so many charts available, you really want to identify the best type for presenting that particular data type you're working on. For example, is it going to be a heat map? Is it going to be a dot plan? I think you have to just decide on that before you start building and pulling the data into your dashboard. And then you want to also keep your data organized. This is another very critical piece. I would say it's on par with keeping your data clean. Just at a quick glance, your audience should be able to view and digest your information quickly. You don't want to have it kind of all over the place or scattered. You just want to keep it really concise and organized. Again, I think less is more when we're talking about visuals. That's what visuals do, is they kind of get smaller from all of the text formats. But also as you're thinking about defining your purpose, you want to kind of keep that in mind as well. And then using the right color combination, that's also a critical piece. We know that different colors evoke different emotions and different responses out of humans. And there's a lot of information available on the internet. So feel free to go and look at that. But, like reds evoke a certain feeling, like greens, you've got like your calming, different types of colors. So you want to be just aware of that. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you do kind of want to be aware of that as you are building and presenting your new charts. So I want to go into a couple examples of QuickSight. I don't know if anyone's on QuickSight already, or Tableau or something, but we are, as an AWS partner, we do heavily rely on QuickSight for data visualization dashboards. So we want to go through and give a couple examples of that. I just want to remind everyone as we are going through this presentation, if you do have specific questions, please feel free to put them in the chat as we are going through, because we will be answering and doing a Q&A at the end. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some data visualization dashboards for QuickSight. So we can see a lot of colors. We can see that different graphs are representing different datas and answering different questions. And you can also probably see, as you're looking at it right now, how much quicker your eyes are absorbing the information, and how concise the questions and the answers are being presented in these different tables. And you can see this is just like a dark version and a light version. There's a lot of configuration that's available within QuickSight. So these are just examples that we had that we wanted to pull and show you all, just so you can get a glimpse. Okay, so let's talk about why data visualization. So if you can see here, we have some really good examples of different data visualization charts that we pulled. These are online. For example, this is 2020's biggest tech acquisitions. And we wanted to just show you how easily this information is absorbed, right? This is a visual. This is actually a lot of data that was pulled together to create this chart, but you as the viewer, you're not seeing that. All you're seeing is the quick answers that to your question that you're looking for very easily within this data chart. Obviously, this is a fancy one. Love that. It's really cool, but you can easily see the answers and view what they're saying quickly. Same with this, the world's top 50 most valuable companies in 2023. You can see that they use specific colors for certain areas. They have the companies and their valuations right there. So it's very easily absorbed, easy to see. And this is something that is going to easily empower either your internal teams with information and or your external like customers or people that you're trying to share this data with. And again, here's another quick one that's very obviously this has got a little bit of design to it, but also quickly gives you the answer to the question that you're looking for and does create a little bit of like memory recall just because you have the visual and our brains function a little bit higher with visuals. Same thing here. This is probably my favorite one.
Hey, Lydia, Scott has a question. Would pie charts not also be considered a popular format for visual data?
Yeah, so let's just hold the questions towards the end. And then, yeah, we're collecting those and we'll go through all of those. Thank you. So the power of AWS QuickSight. So what is AWS QuickSight? Amazon's QuickSight platform is a popular platform in managed business intelligence and an embedded analytics solution that uses machine learning to build data visualizations and dashboards for your team members, no matter where they are. It rivals Tableau and Microsoft's Power BI for corporate intelligence. So why it's our preferred tool? First, scalability. You can easily go from 10 to 10,000 users without building a ton of infrastructure. Number two, it's cost effective. There's lower per user price than competing softwares. Obviously, when you're moving into large softwares, cost is a huge piece. And when you have kind of per user prices, it does add up. But this being cost effective is one of our reasons that we prefer QuickSight. It's simple to set up. So it's simple to set up and it's simple to use. It's simple for clients and customers to easily make edits and changes within the dashboard once it's set up and configured. I know everyone likes to go in and tweak things, especially if it's something as important as your business and it's a tool that's very critical to you making decisions for your business. You'll want to go in and make some additions and some changes easily. It's a faster build. So there's one unified authoring experience and we can get this faster to production. And that's another really critical piece as to why it's our preferred tool. Okay, so we put together this slide. It's our AWS QuickSight pros and cons. We can kind of go through these before we move in towards kind of the closing of this webinar and then the Q&A session. So let's talk about pros. So the ease of use. QuickSight does offer a user-friendly interface with drag and drop functionality, which makes it accessible to users with varying technical experience level. The integration with AWS services is also a really valuable piece here. It seamlessly integrates with various AWS services like S3, Redshift for your data warehousing, RDS, Athena, allowing for easy data ingestion and analysis. Scalability, which is very critical if you're growing and you're growing fast. QuickSight scales according to the needs of the organization, handling large data sets and accommodating growing demands without significant infrastructure management overhead. Speed. It provides fast query performance and interactive visualizations, enabling users to analyze data in real time and derive insights quickly. It's also cost effective, like we talked about. That's one of our top four. It offers a pay per session pricing model, which will allow users to pay only for the actual usage, which can be cost effective for organizations with fluctuating analytic demands. Built-in machine learning. Amazon QuickSight, it incorporates ML-powered features like auto narratives and ML insights, which automate the process of generating insights and discovering patterns in data. And then our last really large pro is the customization, which is probably one of the coolest pieces. It allows for extensive customization of dashboards and visualizations to meet specific business requirements, including custom SQL queries and integration with external data sources. So let's just go over the cons really quickly. Here, which I mean, they may or may not be cons. It kind of depends on what your current configuration and setup is, and how you embedded into like the AWS ecosystem you are already. So it has limited advanced analytics. While it's suitable for basics to moderate analytic needs, QuickSight may lack some advanced analytics capabilities compared to like a dedicated BI tool. With data connectivity, although it integrates well with AWS services, connectivity options with non-AWS data sources may just require extra configuration and effort for that data preparation. And then complexity in advanced configuration, setting up complex data pipelines or implementing advanced features may require some technical expertise and can be unfamiliar or can be a little bit trickier for users that are unfamiliar with the AWS services already. So their customization constraints, while QuickSight offers customization options, there might be some limitations in terms of the advanced formatting or the layouts, and just might again require just a little bit extra effort or technical effort to achieve what your goal is. Dependency on the AWS ecosystem. So the organizations heavily invested in AWS will find QuickSight very quick and easy to set up. You're already in the ecosystem, and you have some things that are already pre-configured that we can easily integrate. While if you're outside of the ecosystem, it's just going to mean that we're going to have to migrate over and make some other adjustments. Security concerns, I will say, while AWS provides robust security features, organizations handling sensitive data might have to ensure that proper configurations are set up to adhere to your best practices. Like, for example, if there's any kind of HIPAA requirements, or if you have compliance requirements that need to be configured in there. We just like to put that out there because it is not something that natively happens. It is something that you'll have to architect within there. And then learning curve, despite its user-friendly interface, mastering QuickSight's full capabilities and leveraging its advanced features may require some learning curve for users new to the platform, or it may require you just working with us at AllCode and leveraging our insight, which is a lot faster. So there wouldn't be any learning curve con for this. So let's go ahead. So that's our pros and cons for QuickSight. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide here. These are some case studies of clients that we've worked on QuickSight dashboards for. And let me go through here. So iBids is a really good example of leveraging QuickSight. So what we did with them is we leveraged QuickSight for internal and external reporting. That's their audiences that they chose. And what we did is we ended up pulling their QuickSight reporting into their dashboard UI, making those QuickSight graphs visible right there within their UI for their users. So that's always a possibility. You don't always have to be logging into QuickSight. It can be something that we can integrate into your dashboard that you have. We also configured specific dashboard visuals to be visible for specific users. So this is like your access levels with permissions. So, access level A gets to see 5 different things in their dashboard, where access level B is only going to see 3. Again, this is kind of depending on what this is as you're going through and architecting what this looks like. Those are also questions to ask, how you want the data to be visualized, and then also who you want accessing it. And then our second case study here is Icon Notes. And also, just so everyone knows, these are easily available with far more detail on our website at allcode.com, and just go to the top right case study tab. So with Icon Notes, we enabled them to be able to see who is using which features. That was one of their questions with their customers. They wanted to see which customers are using what products. And so we pulled that into QuickSight for them to easily see. Since they had about 5,000 practices on their platform, they needed to be able to see that information in a very quick and tangible visual. And they also needed to keep track of which of their users were their free or their paid customers, and which features were used the most in order to upsell. So their questions, obviously, when they were going through and building their roadmap was, which practices are using which features, which practices are the paid or the free ones, and then also which features they were using so that they had the opportunity to upsell. Okay, and that brings us to our final slide. Let me go back here. And at this point, I'm gonna stop sharing, and I'm gonna pop up our final slide. But for anyone, before we move into Q&A, thank you so much for attending and coming on our webinar. We do have an offer for everyone that has showed up today, and for anyone that shows up, for anyone that's on here, we have a free data visualization implementation assessment that we're offering. And let me go ahead and pop up that last little slide. And again, this is a good time if you do have other specific questions to go ahead and pop in the channel. And I will give you the information that we have. Okay. So you can see how to contact us. So let's go ahead and start the Q&A while I'm getting our contact information slide up, and go ahead and start here. I do have Joel on. He has joined us. He is our CEO, and he is ready to answer any technical questions that are available or that are in our chat here. So Joel, if you want to go ahead and unmute here, you can. I will start asking some of the questions that we have. And here, I think we have one big one. Would pie charts not also be considered a popular format for visual data? And I can go ahead and take that one, actually. Scott, pie charts would be considered a popular format for visual data. Again, this is, that was just basically like statistics that we pulled based on what's being used and built in dashboards like QuickSight and Tableau, is more of your graph charts. Okay, so we have another question in here. Are dashboards built by users with drag and drop widgets, or does AllCode do all of the setup of visual data? That's a really good question, Scott. So drag and drop was specific to QuickSight. So if you're wanting to build within QuickSight, it's really, it's kind of dependent on what your preference is. So we have some clients that are a little bit technical, and they like to go in and tweak things as well. We have some clients that will just hire us to completely build out their dashboard for them based on their requirements. It's really dependent on what your preferences are. And something that we also offer as a company is that we will walk our clients through whatever it is that we're doing, and we can kind of provide some documentation and some training as well within the QuickSight dashboard. And I think that that would help some of our non-technical customers and clients probably get to a point where they felt comfortable possibly dragging and dropping. But as far as when we're going through, if there's migration of data or any of that, we would be handling all of that. And we could also handle integrating. If you're already within the AWS ecosystem, we would handle integrating all of those warehouses as well. At this point, Joel, do you have anything that you would like to mention, just that kind of encapsulates the data visualization webinar, or just something specific to the advantages of QuickSight? Possibly not at this moment. Okay. And then Scott, it looks like your last question here is, I assume this will be a SaaS software implemented into a user CRM or other data collection software in use. So this is not a, so QuickSight is its own dashboard. It's just purely for providing data visuals. That data could be derived from possibly a CRM or other data warehouses that you have. So it's really, again, dependent on what your specific needs are, and what your goals are, and most importantly, like your audience. Is it for internal? Is it for external? And what that looks like. But I think you want to start with those questions. And something that we are going to do at the end of this is we will send this recording out to everyone that has participated on here, so that you can go ahead and look at some of those slides again that are in there as well. Okay, let me go ahead and do one more thing really quickly. I'm just going to share this screen so everyone can see our final screen. Okay, so here, thank you for joining us today. Again, here's the free data visualization implementation assessment. We put originally for the first 5 requests, but anyone who is on here, if you want to get in touch with us, we would absolutely love to walk through that process with you. You can get in touch with us at info@allcode.com, or you can reach out to me personally at Lydia, Lydia, @allcode.com. And I want to thank everyone for attending today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to follow up. And we're looking forward to chatting with all of you a little bit more about your data visualization needs and moving towards that goal. Thank you, everyone, for attending. I hope you all have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, Lydia. This was really helpful. Thank you so much.